Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 15, the Yoga of the Supreme Person, also known as Purushottam Yoga. It is one of the most exciting, blissful, and celebrated chapters of the Bhagavad Gita because it talks about the highest knowledge that can help us reunite with our source, the Supreme Lord, and help us regain our original nature, regain our original home, the spiritual world. Many times I have mentioned in my podcasts that we all are not residents of this material world. We are the residents of the spiritual world. We don't belong here. If we belonged here, then we would be allowed to live here forever. Like, if you belong to a particular place, nobody can chuck you out. Nobody can chuck you out of your home. Yes, from a hotel you can be chucked out because that doesn't belong to you, or any other place that doesn't belong to you. So imagine someone checks into their holiday hotel and then begins painting the walls, buying new furniture, refitting the bathroom, and hanging up family pictures. It sounds absurd. We don't make arrangements for long-term comfort in a temporary residence. That would be weird and nonsensical, to say the least. So this world is likened to a hotel room within which people make complicated plans for security and enjoyment. In chapter 15, Krishna uses a wonderful analogy to create detachment within the spiritualist, or a person who is trying to find a meaning to his life, and thus fuel his desire to re-enter his real home in the spiritual realm. So let us just enter the mystery of this chapter by discussing each of the verses. We begin with text number 1, and please listen to these concepts very, very carefully and analyze whatever we speak and whatever you hear. You must then contemplate and analyze, and maybe sometimes write down your realizations, or from every podcast make it a rule that you can at least note down 2 points that really hit you and that really enlightened you, and by the end of it you will have like a collection of many such powerful life-changing points for you. Because if you don't contemplate, if you don't revise what we are hearing, then it won't stay with us forever, and we won't be able to apply it either. How can you apply something which you don't even remember? Text 1, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Urdhvamulam Adha Shakham Ashwatham Prahuravyayam Chandamsi Yasya Parnani Yastam Vedasa Vedavit. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "It is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upwards and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas." So we see trees, but we don't see a tree which has its roots upwards and the branches down. So what is Krishna talking about here? He is telling us about the nature of the world we are living in. What is this world, this universe, this material creation all about? One more verse before we, or maybe another 3 verses, then we can explain in detail, because all these 3-4 verses are interconnected. Text 2, Adhaschordhvam prasritas tasya shakha guna pravriddha vishaya pravalaha adhaschamulani anusantatani karamanubandhini manushya-loke. The branches of this tree extend downward and upward, nourished by the 3 modes of material nature. The twigs are the objects of the senses. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of human society. Text 3 and 4. Na rupamasye tathopalabhyate nanto na chadir na cha sampratishtha ashrattamenam suvirudhamulam asangashastrena dridhena chitva tatah padam tat parimargitavyam yasmin gatana nivartanti bhuyah tameva chadyam purusham prapadye yatah pravrittihi prasrita purani. The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. That means it can't be easily understood. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. Thereafter, one must seek that place from which, having gone, one never returns, and there surrender to that Supreme Personality of Godhead from whom everything began and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial. So very beautiful verses, and with a beautiful example, Krishna is telling us the nature of this world, because he being the creator, and who knows about his creation better than the creator himself. So he's talking about a tree which has its branches and roots upward. The roots upward and the branches down. Whereas in an ordinary tree, in a normal tree, it's just the opposite. So what he's trying to say, where do we see such a phenomena where the branches are downwards and the roots are up? In a reflection. Imagine a tree which is standing on the banks of a river. So its reflection is seen in water, which is just the opposite. The topmost part of the tree is seen as the lowest, and the lowest part is seen at the top. So that's what this material world is. So what is Krishna trying to say? That this world we are living in, and which we are so attached to, and which we don't want to leave, is nothing but a perverted reflection of the original world, that is the spiritual world. And here we are trying to find some happiness. How can you find happiness in reflection? That is present in the original tree. There is a nice story. There was a princess. There was a young man, and he was passing by a river. Suddenly he saw a beautiful and really expensive diamond necklace inside water. He jumped into it and he put his hands on this necklace, but he couldn't find, there was nothing. He kept on trying, but he was not successful, and he was getting frustrated. So then a saint was passing by. He saw what was happening and he smiled, and he called out to the young man. He said, "May I help you?" But the young man said, No, just don't disturb. I'm busy. You just go your way. But the saint understood. He said, "Don't worry. I'm here to help you. I don't want anything from you." So the young man thought there's nothing to lose, so let him try. And the saint said, "Look up." And as soon as the young man lifted his head upwards, he saw there was a necklace, a diamond necklace, hanging from a tree. So what was happening? He was only seeing the reflection of the necklace in the water, and he was trying to catch that, and he was not successful, but the real necklace was somewhere else, right above him. So the young man in this story represents all of us who are trying to hold on to, or trying to find or grab that necklace of happiness in this world. Whereas in the previous chapter, Krishna has already declared this world to be Dukhalyam Ashashvatam, a place of misery, and it is temporary. So in a place of misery, it has been stamped as such by the Creator himself. How can you find happiness? There might be some degree of happiness, but then again Krishna says temporary, ashashvatam. So, and that happiness that we enjoy in this world is called material happiness, and that further binds us to the law of karma. We get more misery because of that happiness in due course of time, and eventually everything is taken away, which we don't want. And we are looking for some variety of happiness. We get bored easily after some time doing the same activity. We can't find the same pleasure in the same activity again and again. We want something new. So that is the nature of matter. It has a beginning, it has an end. So that reflection of necklace is the happiness that we're trying to find, but we are not able to because it's lying somewhere else in the original tree. And the saint in this story represents the sadhus, the gurus that the Lord sends into our life. And when they come and try to help us, we think, oh, number one, why is he disturbing me? I don't have time and energy because I'm so busy trying to find my goal. And secondly, we think, oh, he's approaching me, maybe he has some ulterior motives. So the saint had to convince him, no, I don't want anything from you. And because the young man agreed to listen to the saintly person, so therefore he could find the real happiness, he could find the real necklace. So this material world is nothing but a reflection of the original spiritual world. What we are looking for is not present here, it's present in the spiritual world. And therefore Krishna says, with the weapon of detachment, one must cut down this tree. It is very complicated, but one must cultivate detachment to this tree. It is very important. If we remain attached, we'll remain stuck here and we'll keep going through miseries life after life after life in different species of life. So we must cultivate some reasonable amount of detachment. And that would automatically happen to the degree we try to cultivate attachment to Krishna. So now somebody might say, but okay, you're saying I must become detached from this place and I must leave this place in order to be happy, but then where do I go? Krishna says, then the person, because we have to live somewhere, he says he should seek that place, not the heavenly planets, not the lower planets. He says one should seek that place where once having gone, one never returns to this material world. And there one must surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything has begun, and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial. One must go to that place. Krishna is not saying go to Swargaloka, go to Brahmaloka, go down to the lower planets. It's that place. And who can attain that place? Krishna is saying what kind of qualities we need to cultivate. He has already mentioned that one must detach himself from this world and aim for that world. Now, how does that happen? What are the qualities that one must try and develop? Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha dvandvair vimuktaha sukha dukkha sanger gachanti amudha padam avyayam tat. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who unbewildered know how to surrender unto that Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. These are the qualities one must have. Now, how to develop? It is already explained. Yasyasti bhaktir Bhagavati akinchana sarvair gunays tatra samasate suraha. By developing our genuine devotion for God. It is explained in Bhagavatam, anybody who has genuine devotion for Krishna, the Supreme Lord, he will automatically develop all the good qualities without any separate endeavor. Everything will automatically manifest. You don't have to go and attend some personality courses, this course, that course. they will automatically come. And then we can easily achieve that kingdom. And what is that kingdom like? Krishna is now advertising, because unless he explains what the kingdom is like, apart from explaining that that's a permanent place, this place is temporary, how will we develop a desire to go there? Like, how do you develop a desire to go and visit some place when you hear about the beauty of the place, or we hear about the facilities available at a resort? So hearing is important. So Krishna is explaining what kind of abode he is living in and where we must aspire to go. Text 6. Na tadbhasayate suryo na shashanko na pavakah yadgatva na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. That supreme abode of mine is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. So that abode of mine, Krishna says, is beautiful, most beautiful. It is illuminated not by sun and moon, but by jewels. The advanced scriptures explain Krishna's abode, Golok Vrindavan, is lit up with jewels. There's no need of electricity or sun or the moon. They are there, but they are not contributing to the light that is present there. It is self-illuminated. There are jewels everywhere. The land is filled with jewels. The trees are filled with jewels. And that has lit up the whole spiritual world. Beautiful place. The palaces are bedecked with jewels. The pathways, they are so beautiful. Countless people living there, and we also belong there, but we are stuck here. So we need to go back in order to enjoy eternal bliss. And now Krishna says, why should you return? If somebody asks, why should I return to your spiritual world? One, he's explained this is a temporary world. Secondly, he says, text 7, Mamevansho jiva loke jiva bhutah sanatana manah shasthani indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. He said, because everyone is my part and parcel. They have separated themselves from me and are eternally stuck here. They belong to me. All of you belong to me. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts, he says. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. They have been struggling here since long. And what's happening? One body to another, one species to another, one universe to another, cultivating different desires, material desires, and have been going through different bodies. Text 8. Shariram yadavapnoti yacchapi utkramatishvaraha grihitvaitani samyati vayur gandhan ivashayat. And how they have been changing bodies. The living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. Thus he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. Whatever consciousness we cultivate, accordingly the next body is given to us, and we have been just roaming around this material world for God knows how many lifetimes, quitting this body, gaining another one. It's been going on. Text 9. Stotram chakshuh sparshanam cha rasanam grhanam cha adhishtaya manaschayam vishayanupasevate. The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects. Depending on whatever desires, consciousness we cultivate, a different set of senses is given to us. Could be a dog's body, a hog's body, a human's body, a demigod's body. The choice lies with us. Out of 8.4 million species, any could be given depending on whatever we have desired, cultivated. But Krishna says only intelligent people can understand this. Although it is so very clearly explained here that we are just stuck here changing bodies and we are in the material world, which is a reflection. Text 10. Utkramantam sthitam vapi bhunjanam va gunanvitam vimudha nanu pashyanti jnana chakshusha. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. But one who is blessed with knowledge, who has worked towards acquiring real knowledge by taking shelter of a bona fide guru, who has been blessed by a bona fide guru with the right kind of knowledge, he can easily understand. Therefore, it is very important to seek superior guidance, intelligence coming from the superior sources like Guru, Krishna, through the scriptures. Text 11. Yatanto yoginas chainam pashyanti atmani avasthitam yatanto api akritatmano nainam pashyanti achetasaha. The endeavoring transcendentalists who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly. Continuing on the same thing. But those whose minds are not developed and who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try. So people have to be first of all trying to acquire this knowledge, and only after coming to a certain level we can understand. Now what Krishna is speaking is sounding like theory to us, but practical realization will happen when we regularly hear from a bona fide guru and apply that knowledge in our life, and also serve him submissively. There are 3 steps of acquiring knowledge: accepting the shelter of a bona fide guru, inquiring from him submissively, hearing from him, and number 3, rendering menial service to him. That way the knowledge that we acquire gets digested and we get realizations. So only people who are situated in self-realization, those who are knowledgeable, real knowledgeable, having learned from their bona fide gurus, can understand all this, how this is taking place. We're just changing bodies, and this has been going on for many lifetimes, and thus they develop a desire to leave this world behind and go back to our original home, and not just continue to stay in the reflection. So we'll continue in the next podcast as Krishna continues to explain his glory, which is not understood by ordinary people but by those who are endeavoring for self-realization sincerely.